All right, welcome to, I believe, episode 117 of my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there is video content, there's a transcript. So there's a blog which has everything. It has all the articles that I'm going to cover and more, actually. And there's a video that I want you to, well, at least read the transcript. You don't have to watch her because anyway. And what else? So then this video is on the blog. So everything's there all together in one place. So you don't have to go, like Rumble has the video. Although I've been watching Rumble and there's a lot of commercials now. Ads, whatever. So I don't know if you guys or whoever, people who visit the blog, if you're watching the Rumble, are there ads? So I might just put the YouTube video there. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Sorry, just had a thought. Okay, the transcript, for those of you who can't understand me, can be found at rss.com. And everywhere that I post as my FX Buddies. So you can also do an internet search for that. The blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. But wherever you are enjoying this content, look for a open, more intro, info, description, something like that. Click on that. Another box opens that will have a link to the blog. All right, I think that's everything. So YouTube, everything that I cover is under the Fair Use Disclaimer Act because it's sharing, critiquing, commenting. All right. And I just want to throw this in because I know some people don't listen all the way. Please, wherever you are, pray for our country. We are, woo, there's, but specifically the people in the middle of the country where they got hit, they got attacked. More stuff will come out as time goes on. Well, if they let it, but it's a mess. It's a mess. But at the same time, there are wonderful stories of the American people coming together to assist each other, not asking what color are you, what political affiliation. Hey, do you know where your loved ones are? When's the last time you ate? Do you need medication? Picking up children that are just wondering, don't know where their mom and dads are. Bringing generators, so many things that the American people are doing to help each other. And I'm sure maybe the same thing happens in other countries. I don't know, but there's a lot of negative images and negative things that are said. You know, they say our country is so divided right now and, you know, blah, blah, blah. There's so many negative things that are, it's a narrative that's portrayed on media. But if you look at alternative media and you see the American people, we love each other, we stand with each other, and that's what makes America great. All right. So, also, if there is a join, follow, subscribe, something like that button, wherever you're listening, do whatever action is necessary to activate that also. All right, so let's get into it. We're at some interesting times in Iraq. Let me tell you, I'm going to scroll all the way down. If you're following along with the video, I'm scrolling all the way down to the bottom. Oh, shoot. Oh, wait, sorry. The military stuff is all the way down at the bottom. I did it different this time. But, that's normally how I do it. I put the military stuff at the bottom. And there's quite a bit. And there's stuff not even here. There was a lot this weekend. Good weekend, but kind of seems like people are on pins and needles also waiting for tomorrow, October 7th. Oh, by the way, this is Sunday, October 6th, 2024. And it's early enough where this should post for October 6th also. All right, so here, see this lovely lady? And what's behind her? The dollar. So the title of this, the dollar exchange rate continues to rise in the Iraqi market. This came out Friday evening. So all week though, the dollar, and you say, well, I thought they didn't use the dollar. I know. As of January 1st, 2024, they're not supposed to be using dollars, but they report on this parallel market rate so much. Someone's using the dollar, okay? So, and with the uncertainty of, is Ice Cream Land gonna attack Iran, with all of that, it's causing volatility in the dollar. Actually, Friday, Thursday, some dealers closed down. They didn't even sell because it was so volatile. And then what does that do? That makes it even higher because it puts less places for the people to buy the dollar, even though they're going to continue to buy the dollar, right? So it makes the price increase. So let's see. This is really short, but the transcript is here. But mostly they're saying Sudani and the central bank failed. They failed to keep the dollar price low. There's an inability to cover demand for the foreign currency. And so what else happens? Prices go up. And this is saying mobile phones and gold prices went up. So you could watch that. Well, you don't need to watch the video because this is the image. It doesn't change. It's her, although she's very lovely. It's her and then a bunch of dollars. But you should read the transcript. So that's how the weekend started, with that, right? All right, so we'll go up. And I know there was some rumors, oh, the rate changed. And I said, the rate sure did change, but in the wrong direction because, let's go Control F. Let's see, 1600. Oh, well, before I get into the main article, I wanted to show you this. Will the dollar reach 1600 dinars per dollar? And I bet you it did. Where are the government measures? All right, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so I'm done jumping around. Now I'm going all the way back up to the top. And most private banks closed. Fears of liquidity crisis amid citizens' anger. And just like all governments, what's been happening for, I think, 3 weeks now? Some economists have been coming out and saying, oh, there's a liquidity crisis. And who immediately comes out and says, no, there's not? Mohammed Saleh, right? The financial advisor to the prime minister, comes out. I think even the minister of finance, Miss Sammy, I think she's come out and even said, no, there's no liquidity crisis. The CBI has even said there's no liquidity crisis. Well, this is going to say otherwise. So most private banks closed. Fears of liquidity crisis. Let me close that. Keep in mind, so I put that, keep in mind the dollar has been very volatile this past week. It was at or just about at 1,600 dinars per dollar. Okay, but this is definitely interesting. They've had dollar volatility like this before. I don't recall seeing the banks. I've seen the exchangers close, right? But these are the banks, so let's go. Today, many banks in Iraq witnessed a state of chaos and tension after their sudden closure, which raised widespread concern among citizens, especially with the emergence of reports about some other banks refusing to return customers' deposits under the pretext of a lack of cash liquidity. This development prompted many citizens to quarrel with the management of the banks that remained open, and growing fears that the officials of these banks would flee after emptying them of money. Okay, so that's it. That's the very short article. But they're not too far away from when their money was just straight stolen out of their accounts. And they were told, sorry, we don't know where the money went. So there goes, 10, 11 years of building confidence in the banks in an instant. You got crowds of people. Now, I don't know how many, but here are the banks that closed their doors. So these aren't branches. These are the banks, right? These banks closed flat out. These remained open but refused to return customers' deposits under the pretext of lack of liquidity. So here they are. So at first I was like, are they doing this because they're changing the rate and they don't want to give out money and get caught? That's with my dinar goggles on. That's what I would like to see, right? And we do have to wonder what is the CBI and Sudani, what are they going to do to get the rate down? Because the only thing that's changed is, oh wow, the geopolitical uncertainty. So I'm hoping nothing big is going to happen tomorrow on October 7th. That's what I'm hoping. And this week, they'll get it under control. So we'll see. We'll watch that. Now, I said, oh my goodness, because I am watching all weekend. They've been showing something in black and white. It's history. Oh, because I watch their news, right? And right now they're showing coins and they're showing a $1 note from history. So I'll be keeping my eye on this. See, very interesting. This is something I've not seen before either. So, and I don't even know. It might. Let me not get excited because it might not even be Iraq. Oh, anyway, all right. So let's finish this article. The sudden closure comes amid reports of financial turmoil hitting Iraq's banking sector, with many customers fearing they will lose their money amid growing rumors that some bank officials are planning to flee the country after withdrawing assets from branches because that is what's happened to them in the past. But I doubt that. I doubt that's what's happening. All right. So that was pretty big news. So we'll move on to other news. That was good. Now this is in Kurdistan. Kurdistan Finance announces depositing Suleimanian employees' salaries into their accounts. So mind you, this is it's a major province in Iraq, in Kurdistan. But I'm sure they're happy to get money, right? And then later in the day, guess what they all employees of Kurdistan must open bank accounts before the end of March 2025. I wonder why. Why that time? Hmm. Um, why not give them January? I mean, they've had long enough time to do this, but so I'm wondering, that's the end of the first quarter. That's the only thing I can see. It's the end of the first quarter of 2025 because remember, despite what anyone else tells you, Iraq's fiscal year is the calendar year. So I thought this was interesting. And there's a whole bunch of other employees that are waiting to get cards. They've done everything, they've signed up. For some reason, they're calling this Hasabi project. In other instances, it's called something else, but it's all the same thing. There's a system, especially the state government employees. They have to get their salaries deposited on a debit card. And then they can either spend right off their debit card or go to the bank or ATM and get cash. Most of the other parts of Iraq are already on that system. The Kurds waited. And there's a reason, a political reason that they waited. So they're finally giving them a deadline. All right. Herbal has another opinion. Baghdad and Basra on the dollar madness. The rich and the poor stopped trading. So this, I think, was Friday. It was either Friday or early Saturday. So if you'd like, you could come here and read this. Is it back to, I know it says 150, but it's 1500 in the middle of the conflict, but it's a 3-letter word. Read that as 1500 dinars per dollar. So if you'd like to, you can come read this, but you see what it says. Rich and poor stop trading. So the really fancy traders who have like an office, if you've ever been to like a check cashing office, that's what their exchanger offices look like. Or there's a street. Well, I think they took them off the street, but they're in like an open air market and they just have tables full of currency and calculators where they just they calculate the work right there and by hand with paper and calculators. So yeah, they're all saying the same thing. It's non-economic factors that are making the dollar rate change. Non-economic factors. Some are bullying uh, the dollar rate, they're saying, is bullying the exchangers because of speculators and traders. Some are taking advantage of it, but some are just closing up shop. And it says, we have been noticing this for years with any geopolitical bump or any security disturbances. Those are nice phrases to use. Security disturbances. Maybe I'll put that in my vocabulary. So they spoke to a couple of different exchangers, and there's their conversations. All right, and so here in Nineveh, banks in Nineveh are still complaining they don't have access to the currency auction to obtain dollars. This is, I think, the second time that I've seen. See, Mosul and Nineveh banks, they want access to the auctions. And I'm wondering if they're delaying them, saying, hey, we're about to stop using the auctions anyway, right? They never allude to that, but then our goggles on. That's what I want to think, right? Okay, so now here, this is geopolitical, but it's very important. It's all over the news. It's even like a special letter. They're showing it on TV to the citizens. They read it word for word. So they want the citizens to know this was today. Sadani sends a message to Biden. We stand on the threshold of a dangerous slide. that may shake the global economy. So if you like, you can read that. But of course, here's a word I can't say. Here's a word I don't want to say, right? Conflict word. And I think it's gearing up to tomorrow, because see, there's the date, October 7th. So you might want to read that. Also, he's dealt with several other leaders in the EU. In fact, this is an article, let's see, but I was going to put the actual document, but who cares, right? But, and further down in where the military stuff is, there's another. So if this isn't the one, if this is just an article and not the statement, then the statement is down further. Now, this was interesting. And they interviewed this guy, not just here in this hallway. He had like a 30-minute interview planning. The annual inflation rate in Iraq is slight and does not exceed 3%. And the only reason I reference that is Shabibi, when he was alive and still working for the CBI, so decades ago, or at least maybe 15 years now. I don't know. He said we would need, for the RV to happen, that inflation would need to be at a certain point. So there they are, talking about inflation. Are they telling the truth? Who knows? And especially right now with the prices rising because of what's going on. All right, so here Sudani meets with British ambassador, setting a new date for his visit to the UK. So remember, when he came back from, where was he? Was he here in America? He was. New York. He was in New York at the UN General blah, blah, blah. Remember that? And he was supposed to be able to spend the weekend bragging about all the good things that happened, but this happened, right? The conflict kicked up. So he had to cancel his trip. And from this discussion, there still is not a date for him to go there. And you can see there's that aggression, the Zionist aggression. So every time Sadani meets with a leader, he addresses that. You're going to help be part of the cry against what's going on with my brothers, right? And I'll show you. Okay, so here is that article about 1600. Oh, I had an image. I'm not going to be able to get it. I'll post it maybe later, but there was a screenshot of the rate being 1556. Okay, so about 10 days ago, the exchange rate started rising. So you might want to read that. And there they are. Citizens are wondering. Okay. This is a really big deal. It's a big report. And even this weekend, they've been showing stuff that Sudani did. Maybe this year, it doesn't look like they went too far back. Maybe it's just this year, but he visited hospitals, cut red ribbons, ribbon cutting ceremonies, all this stuff, right? Supporting the Iraqi economy, the government takes a series of decisions and measures to activate the role of the private sector. Now, is it a coincidence that they're doing this right when the people are fearful because the dollar rate is going so high? Or was this already planned? Because, see, he did speak somewhere. See, he's at a podium. Supporting the private sector, creating job opportunities are priorities confirmed by Sudani's government. But it doesn't really say where he is. But if you have a doubter, if you have one of those people in your group that says nothing's changed, they haven't done anything, here's another one of those articles where you can show them, look what he's done. Yeah. So I'm thinking the little commercial they're running on TV is probably covering all of this stuff. All right. See how long it is? Agreements and partnerships. And then here, it may have been at this, but I don't think so because here, this is a different podium and a different background. But there was a conference on Saturday with a different advisor. Look at this. Hussein Flamers. I'm not sure what kind of advisor he is. If he's a financial or planning, but whatever. Um, the development fund provided the private sector with unprecedented great support while setting two conditions for developing the private sector. And who really cares what they are, right? But they are here. So this is a short version, a short article of the development fund, which is separate from anything else. And they do occasionally ask for people to give to that. All right, let's see. Expert. And remember this guy? I always think it's funny. His last name is Antoine. He has two very Basim Jamil and then Antoine. So he came out and said military situations and oil price fluctuations create a climate of economic uncertainty. So there you go, if you want to read that. And actually, Nabil Marsumi, I don't know if you, that's the one who is pessimistic, right? He said oil could get to $200 per barrel if there's an extended conflict, right? Or if it goes to a regional conflict, meaning if kablooies start going off in Baghdad, oil could get to $200. But I didn't want to put that there, but yeah, typical of him. That's what he does, right? So here's what's his name? Samir Al-Nasari. Digital banks, the next phase of digital transformation in the Egyptian sector. So why is he talking about Egypt? Egypt, Egypt, because Iraq is signing with Egypt, remember, to help them get to where they are. And here, during 2023 and 2024, Iraq has recorded a qualitative leap in the volume of transactions and electronic payment operations and use of modern banking technologies. So they're going to help. Egypt probably is the first country they'll help. There'll be others after. Similar to 2014, will Iraq resort to reducing expenses to cover the budget deficit? Not if they do what we're waiting on them to do, right? So you could read that if you want, and there it is. In order to cover the budget deficit and lack of liquidity. All right. Let's see. Okay, so there were lots of meetings. It almost seemed like the framework, and Maliki was in attendance. They had a bunch of meetings with Sudani, with Abadi, who's a previous prime minister. One title even said the ruling party. They called the framework the ruling party of Iraq. I was like, oh, that's not good. But they have discovered tunnels. There's tunnels that have been built from Iraq to other places. So they're getting ready. I mean, I guess that's a smart thing to do, right? In hopes things don't happen, but while you can, they're doing that. But I didn't post any of that because it was quite boring. And then plus now there's for results, right? So the secrets of the agreement between the factions and the government, 2 steps towards a calm Iraq amidst the noise of the neighbors, which is who? Lebanon, Iran, Yemen, right? So you might want to read that. And I think, yeah, okay, so then here's the video that came out Friday evening. So all below this is military stuff. And I am aware we're at 30 minutes. I did want to cover this. After 33 years, the Swedish embassy is reopening. How will the opening of the Swedish embassy in Iraq affect economic relations between the 2 countries? 33 years. Why are they doing it now? What do they see coming? What do they think will benefit them? Look, which would contribute to more fruitful bilateral cooperation. So yeah, but if you read this, and there were 2 articles, but since there already are a lot of articles here, but see this, the meeting address, the ongoing, yeah, see that word there? Aggression on that word I don't say, and Lebanon. All right. Fuad Hussein discusses human right legislation in Iraq with someone from the U.S. What is her name? Oh, look at her title. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights. Whoa, she's got a lot. And her name is Azra Zia. So she came from Washington to Baghdad. Oh, also just FYI, the oil minister got his powers stripped. So either he's no longer living or he's still healing from, if you remember, he came here and they said he had a medical issue, but then either he had a heart attack or something. He has not been seen since. They've even had like a black box with a question mark in it on the news when they're talking about him. So over the weekend it was announced that the current minister of oil has had his powers stripped. So hopefully he's okay. But anyway, all right. So here, we don't want another Iraq. British warning against drifting behind America in war against Iran. And there's a little picture here. The British somebody is actually came to Iraq. And then our person, this is who, Commander of the U.S. Central Command, General Michael Eric Kurilla. Look at that. That's a cool last name. Who oversees U.S. forces. He went to Ice Cream Land. So there's one article talking about his upcoming visit. And then Sunday, he arrived. And there's an article about that. You might want to read that. So here's another one of those. Sudani asked the ruling. Oh, here. Yes, I put it here because I didn't think you would believe me. See that? Sudani asked the ruling coalition to move quickly before war. And who is that? That's the framework. Oh, no, sorry. But there's Maliki sitting right next to Sudani. That makes me nervous. And then there's Abadi. He's the previous prime minister. So there's other people, clearly Iranian-backed people on the other side of this. These are the people. So the Islamic resistance in Iraq, these are them. That's really good grammar, isn't it? But you see, they're organized. They have uniforms. They have their own flag. So you might want to read that. Oh, here it is. Here's the other picture. So I'm realizing that the Iranian, whatever they are, they wear different headgear. I'm just gonna say that because I don't know what to call it. This is what's his name? Hakeem. I don't like him. This is Amiri. I don't know. This is Kazali. I don't like him. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna end here. But I know some people are very interested in the military stuff. So that's why I post it. But I put it at the very bottom of the blog if you want to just go there. All right. So thanks for listening. This week could be interesting, especially watching the dollar rate to see what it's going to do, see what actions they're going to take. I believe they may take. Actually, I I wonder if there was a really big auction. Maybe they'll start having really big auctions to alleviate the pressure on the dollar and bring it down. I don't know, but we'll see, and I will report. So thank you for listening. I hope you feel this was worth your time. So yeah, things are getting interesting for sure, and we'll see what happens if those banks open up tomorrow and if they're giving away money or not. So I suspect I will post tomorrow, but um, like I said earlier, hit those buttons, and if I do post, and everything works like it's supposed to, you will be updated. Thank you for listening. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I sure did. There was some good football games on. And like I said, my spirit was renewed to see all the people were walking into water to free farm animals. Not even their animals. Just they saw animals about to drown and they went and did stuff to free them. Just wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I'm going to stop babbling. Um, so enjoy the rest of your. No, no, no. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. um, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are enjoying this what is this? Content. All right. Thank you.